Hello and welcome to another exciting one. It's my friend here, and today we are doing a 3D bulb inside of Blender. It's going to be fun, easy and simple to follow along. Along the line, we are going to learn some cool tricks, cool add-ons to achieve this nice and looking result, as you can see. So without much talks, let's jump right into it. So as always, we are going to start from scratch. So let's hit on general to start a fresh Blender file. So we have our cube and then our light. So let's select it and then hit X for delete. So next, let's import in our reference image. To do that, let's go to our X, click on this X here to go to our right orthographic view, and then we locate where we saved our image. So I'm going to leave a link to grab this reference in the description in case you want to follow along. So I'll drag and then drop it inside our scene like this. All right, so let's reset the position. As you can see, it's not like it came in anyhow. So if you hit on Alt plus G, it's going to reset the position of the lamp accurately inside our scene. All right, so we can click here and then scale it down a bit like this, and then we can make sure we select it and then hit on GZ and then bring it back to center like this. So next, let's go to our image property and then take opacity, and then let's make the opacity to something like this, 0.5%, and then uncheck this perspective so that our image is hidden when we are in perspective and it's only shown when we are in orthographic view, right? And then the depth, let's set it to front so that this image is always shown in front of any object we add later on. Right, so finally let's just come here and then check this and then check here so that we can't mistakenly select our image. Now let's start with our modeling, the fun stuff. Right, so first let's add in a cylinder. So we do Shift A and then we add in a cylinder. Right, let's bring this up and then let's change the vertices to 16, and then we can, as you can see, this is our cylinder, and then we can change the depth, make it a bit shorter, and then we can change the radius and then make it small like this so that it fits our reference as similar as possible. Right, so if you jump out of edit mode, this is what we, if we go into our perspective view, sorry, this is what we have. But if, right, so this is the cylinder we just created. So let's just go into our right view once again, hit on this X here, and then let's position our cylinder. Right, if the image is still more showing, our reference is showing, you can just uncheck, select our reference, come here and then decrease the opacity to hide it even more so that we can see our shapes even better. So let me select this shape, then G and then Z to bring it into position somewhere here. Can hit on Z here, then we can scale it until it's something like this. Right, so this is fine for me. So next, we're going to do a couple of extrusion and then scaling here and there just to conform to this base shape here. Okay, so let's jump into edit mode, go to our edge select mode, Alt and then click to select this bottom edge, and then let's do S to scale it down a bit so that it forms something like this. Right, so next, let's just, with this part selected, we can hit on I, we can hit on E to extrude it down to here, to somewhere here. Right, and then we can do S to scale it in, and then we can do E once again to add in another extrusion. So we have something like this. Then we can do I to insert in somewhere here, and then we can do E and extrude it inside like this. Okay, so we're going to come to this parts later. Let's focus on the top part. Next, let's select this face and do the same thing basically. So I'll hit on 3, face select mode, select my face, and then I can do E to extrude it up to here. Then we can do S to scale it down here, and then we can do E and then extrude it up like this. So we'll come back to this side later as well. So let's go back to this bottom side. So let's steal this face here and then use it to create this bottom part of our bulb. So to do that, let's make sure we just select this face and then we hit on P and then we separate by selection. So now this face, this plane here, is separated into its own object. So if we come here, let me jump out of edit mode. We have this cylinder and then cylinder 1, which is this part of this shape, right? So we can just name it as bulb tip, or you can name it whatever you want. That's the name I'm going with, right? So with this shape selected, let's hit on tab to enter into edit mode once again, and then let's select this shape, right? And we can do E to extrude it down. Let's go to our right view so that we make sure it's in line with our reference. So we can do G, move this face on the Z axis to somewhere here, right? So that we have this and then this tip here, right? Nice. So we can hit on slash to isolate it. So this is what we have so far. If I go back from slash, we have this side and then this shape, right? So let's look at our reference image once again. You can see if I hide this shape, we have this kind of spiral line, screw-like shape going around this object. So let's add it inside. So to do that, we are going to use a cool little trick here. So let's do Shift A and then let's add in a plane, right? So from the plane, we can change the align to view so that the plane is facing the view we are in. But let's make sure we are in the orthographic view, the left or right or any of them, right? So I'm going to scale the plane on the Z axis to something like this. Yes. Then I'm going to scale it on the Y axis as well. So right, then I will do G and then I'll bring my plane down to somewhere here. Okay, so I still need to scale it down even a bit more. So say this, I'm just scaling my plane down until it fits the size of these things that goes around this shape, right? So once we have our plane, I'm going to tab into edit mode, hit on slash to isolate my plane, and then inside my edit mode, I'll go to my point select these 2 points here, and I'll hit on X, and then I'll do delete vertices, right? So I have only these 2 vertices left, right? So next, let's add in a modifier. So we go to our modifiers tab, and then we go to our screw modifier to add in a screw modifier. All right, let's change the axis to X axis. Let's change it to Y. Let's change it to Y axis. And then let's jump out of edit mode, do control. The reason it's behaving this way is the scale is out of balance. So let's do control A, and then we can apply scale. And then you see, once we apply the scale, we have a perfect circle like this, right? So next, let's come to this section, and then let's increase the iteration to 3, and then let's raise the screw up like this, right? So let's hit slash once again to bring back our object so that we can see it, right? So with the screw selected, G, and then I'll bring my screw down to somewhere here, and then I can decrease my screw by holding shift till I get the desired shape I want. Okay, so if I go out of edit mode, this is something that we are looking for, right? If it's still big, you can jump into edit mode and then scale this down even more, right? And then we can decrease our screw here like this. So I think this is fine. Jump out of edit mode, G, and then bring my screw modifier in the middle like this, right? So next, let's apply our screw. So in object mode, we'll come here and then we hit on apply to apply our screw, and then jump into edit mode. Then we do Alt plus E, and then we go extrude faces along normals, right? So we're going to extrude it inside till it intersects with this shape here, right? And then next, once we are done, next we are going to merge these two shapes together, right? So let me right click and then just go shade flat for now. We are going to add in the subdivisions later. So we are going to merge these two shapes together using the boolean, right? It's a cool little add-on you need to enable so that you can get some shortcuts. So I'll go to preference and then you search for bool tool. If you don't have it enabled, just enable this tool so that you can get cool shortcuts to your boolean. So we are going to use this command here, union. So control plus numpad plus, yeah. So I'll select this object, hold shift click to select this object, right? So make sure this object is the active one. Now hit on control plus, right? And then we have our boolean applied. So next, let's apply our boolean. So we'll go to the modifiers tab and then we'll hit on apply to apply our boolean. Let me select this box here, bounding box here, hit X and then delete it, right? So that we have this boolean. So now I'll hit on slash to isolate just this object here, and let's hit on tab to go into edit mode, and then we can see what we have. So we have to clean up some 1 or 2 points. So there are some points here, as you can see these 2 points are not together, but we have to merge them together so that we don't face any problems later on, right? So first thing we need to do is hit on A to select everything, then we hit on M, and then we are going to merge all by distance, right? So if you look down here, we can see 0 vertices removed. Why? Because of the merge distance. So I'm going to zoom in, and then I'll increase the merge distance a bit, right, to something like this, and then all of a sudden we have 94 vertices removed, right? So all these double edges here are all removed and gone. So they are now, you can see they are now, it's just only 1 vertices here, right? That's what we want. So next, let's slide in these vertices and then join them with this one here, right? So there are a couple of ways we can do it. We can select this and then select this, and then we hit on M, then we do merge at last, then it will merge here. So let's do that, M, and then we merge at last, and then it will be merged here. So let's come to the bottom part and then do the same thing here, right? So we select this and then select this, M, and then merge at last to merge it here. Or we can just select this, make sure we have auto merge vertices on, and then we can do double G to slide, and then it will be merged at this point, right? So you're basically done with the spiral shape, which is basically the hardest part of the model. So now let's add in a subdivision surface to see what we have. So let's jump out of edit mode, modifiers, and then subdivision surface, right? So that's what we have for now. So let me jump into edit mode once again. Let me hide my subdivision surface for a minute, and then we can go to our face select mode just to relax the spiral shape a bit. Hold Alt and then click to select this entire face without minus these two here, right? Then we can come to our shrink and flatten, and then we can just add in a bit. No, it's not working, so let's just leave it there. What we can probably do is go to our edge select mode, select this edge, make sure we have our move tool active, and then bring it in a bit, and then in like this a bit, just to help with the transition. So in, and then in like this, right? So let's just hit on our subdivision once again to see what we have. right click, and then let's do shade smooth for now. And then what we will probably do is to delete the top and then the bottom part, right? So let me hit on 3, select this face. Let me hit on slash to bring, and then let's look at our object. So we have some holes at this section that's going to come later, but for now let's just isolate it once again, and then we can just insert it in a bit. No, not even insert it, X, and then we can delete the face here. So let's do subdivision once again. Then we have something like this, right? Nice. So next, I'll probably do Alt yeah. So next, let's do the same thing at the bottom here. So jump into edit mode, select this bottom, and then you can hit on slash to bring everything in, and then let's try and model this shape here. So we can do E to extrude it to this side, and then we can do S, and then we can do E once again, S to extrude it inside, then we can do E to extrude it out, and S to extrude it out like this. So we have something like this. We can do I, insert, X, delete this face, then go to tool, our edge select mode, Alt plus click to select this entire edge, go to our face, and then we do a grid fill, right? So I have this. Now if we jump into edit mode, this is what we have for the bottom parts. You can always add in a couple of supporting loops. So I'll select this loop, Control B. But before I do that, let's just do Control plus A to Control plus A, then we apply our scale. Then we can do Control B to add in a few more loop cuts to tighten up our shape even more. Whilst we are at it, we add in an extra loop cut in the middle here, just to tighten this shape here, right? So next, let's focus on how we can punch the holes inside this shape. So I'll just hit slash to isolate this shape here, and then let's apply this one level of subdivision. So we can just hit on this, then apply our subdivision. So now if we jump into edit mode, we have something like this going on, right? So we alt click and then select this entire ring, and then G to bring it down. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can bring this entire thing down to somewhere here, right? And then we can push it down even more like this, and then we can do E to extrude it out like this. Let me just go and isolate just this object. Okay, so now what we are going to do is select let me go to my right view, and then my face view, and then I'm going to select each faces. So we are going to do this all around, right? So I'm going to select Alt. I'm going to hit on Alt plus click to select this entire loop here. Now I'll go to my face. I'll go to my select mode. Then I'll do checker deselect to select each other shape. And then we'll do I to insert it inside like this, right? And then right click, and we'll use our loop tool circle. So if you don't have the loop tool, it's an add-on you can enable inside your preference. So just search for loop, and then you can just tick here so that you can have access to those options. So just right click, loop tool, and then circle. It's going to make it a circle like this for us, and then we can do Alt plus E. Then we can do Alt plus E, extrude faces along normals, and then we can add in one extrusion like this. We can do Alt E once again, and add in another extrusion. Then we will hit on X, and then we delete the faces, right? So now if I tap out of edit mode, this is what we have. Then we can add in one subdivision surface like this, so that we have this nice thing going on for us, right? Can probably do Z. I'm just trying to position it inside our lamp like this, right? So next, let me just select, let's do this part quickly, and then we can focus on the top part, which is the final part. Let's do Ctrl+1 to add in a subdivision surface like this. Then we can right click, shade it smooth, jump into edit mode, and then we can add in a couple of supporting loops. And before we do that, let's do Ctrl+A, then add in a scale, and then can go to our edge select mode, alt click this edge, Ctrl+B, and then we can drag to add in a supporting loop like this. Select this one, Ctrl+B, and then we can add in another loop like this, just to tighten up this section. And then this section, we can add in an extra one here. We can bring it down like this, and then an extra, let's just bevel this edge here, Ctrl+B, to add in a bevel like that. Okay, so let's just hit on 3 X I to insert this face. So this is what we have. I think this section is a bit longer. Let's see how we can fix it. Let me just hide our selection and then hit on 2. You can just see if I can bring this down a bit, and then Alt. Let me just go into this view here, and then make sure we have our X-ray mode active. And I'm going to go to the faces and then drag to select this entire face. Then I can bring it down somewhere here. Perfect. Then we can move this entire object inside like this. Let me hide. So I have something like this. Nice. So next, let's focus on this spiral shape. So we are going to enable another add-on. So let's go to our edit, preference, and then just search for extra. So extra object, curve extra object. Let's just take that one. That's where we are going to get this spiral shape from. So with that one active, we can just go to Shift A, then curve. Then we can go to curve spiral. Let's just choose the first one. Now we have this, and then in the settings, the tens, we are going to send it to 2, and then the steps, let's decrease it to, let's say 12, and then we are going to increase the heights like this, and then the radius, we are going to decrease it until it conforms with our reference image like this. Then we can decrease the height a bit, right? So we have this nice thing like this. So next, since it's a curve, we can come to the properties and then add in extrude to create, add in a depth inside the bevel section. So I'll just add in a bit of a depth. Let me make sure my extrude is set to 0. Just add in a depth like this to create the bob like shape that we see, right? So I can increase or decrease my depth. Right, then I can scale my shape down a bit just to make it conform to our reference image even more. Can hit on G to bring it up to this side. Right, so we have this. Can scale it down till we have this, then hit on G to bring it down to the side. Right, so there's the spiral shape. So this is one half of the spiral shape, so we can just duplicate and then rotate it to the other half. But before I do that, let me just select this point and I'll hit on E, and I'll extrude it down on the Z-axis like this. Right, and then I can select this and then right click, and then I'll just go to smooth to make it a bit smoother. Right, like this. So I'll just select these two sides and then I'll hit on G, X to bring it inside on the X-axis somewhere here. Right, so next all we have to do is jump out of edit mode into the object mode. With this shape, spiral shape selected, I'll hit Ctrl+D to create a duplicate, and then I'll rotate the duplicate on the Z-axis by 180 degrees like this. There we have this. Right, so we can always, since it's a curve, as you can see, they are intersecting here, we can always go back, select these two curves, come into the bevel, hold Alt, and then we can always decrease the depth of the bevel just to see how round our curve is. So we have something like this. Okay, so next, as I said, it's still editable, so we can just scale it on the Z-axis to bring things up like this. So next we have to find a way to join these two curves together in a very seamless way. So to do that, with these two selected, I'll just hit Ctrl+J to group all of them into one object. Hit on Tab to go into edit mode. So now you can see we have both of these as inside a single object. So I'm going to select this, hold on Shift, and then select this point here. Now hit on F to join them together. So with both sides joined together, I'll just right click and then add in a couple of points in the middle so that's to make sure the transition is smooth. So I'll just right click, subdivide one, and then right click and then add in an extra subdivide. So we have 2 points here to ensure smooth transition. So I'm going to go to my top view like this, select this point here, then I'll do G, and I can bring it down, then select this point, do G, then bring it down like this. There we have this cool spiral shape. So we are almost done. Right click, and then we can add in a subdivision to see what we have. So I'll hit on Ctrl+2 to add in 2 stages of subdivision. Then this is what we have. I think our lamp is ready. Can always add in depth. It's still editable and procedural, so we can add in a little bit of depth if we want. Jump into edit mode, select just these 2 points here and then here, right click and then smoothing it out a bit so that the transition is even more smooth. Right, so the last part we have to do is let's come back to this side, and then let's create the holes where the bulb intersect with the plastic part of our model. So I'll jump into edit mode, and then I'll select this face here, X, and I'll delete the face so that we have this hole here. And then let's fill it in with a grid fill. So let's make sure we have our edge mode active, Alt, and then Alt click to select the entire face, go to our faces, and then we go to grid fill. Right, so we have this. Now let's make sure that the grid fill is well aligned. So we are going to leave the span to 4. Then we are going to play with the offset, so spine to 4 and then offset of 3, so that we have these 4 shapes here aligned with our bulb, so that we can punch in the holes from this side, right? So now once we are done, let's just go to our face select mode once again here, then select on these 4 faces here. That's where we are going to create our hole. So we hit on I, then we can insert, right click, go to our loop tools, and then we hit on circle to create a circle, right? You can always position, so I'm using the move tool here to position it, then S to scale until I find something that fits, right? So let's see, this is fine. I'm just going around to make sure it's nice and centered, right? So next, let's just extrude it up. So we do E, and then we extrude it up on the Z axis, right? So let me just hide this thing. So we have, I'm hiding the subdivision for a bit. So we have this, so we have extruded up. Let me bring it up even more. And then I to insert, then we can insert it in like this, and then we can do E, and then we can extrude it down like this, and then we can hit on our X, and then we delete faces to create this hole here, right? So now, sorry, now if we hit on tab to go out of edit mode, this is what we have, right? So let's just add in a couple of loop cuts to strengthen this area. So Control R, now add in a loop cut here, another one here, and then another one in this middle like this, right? Now we have this. Let's increase the subdivision level to 2 to see how smooth it is, right? So let's select everything, hold / to isolate only this part, go into edit mode, and then we hit on A to select everything. So we are going to mirror this side to this side, right? So first we have to make sure we have everything selected, and then we go to our mesh, and then we go to symmetrize, right? So it's on the Y axis, right? You see this green line here is the Y axis, so we have one here and then one here. So we're going to symmetrize it to this other side, right? So I'll go to mesh and then symmetrize, right? So if we come down here, we can change the direction. So let's go from Y to -Y. Doesn't work. -Y to Y. Let's play around till you see what works. Okay, so it's actually from +X to -X. So this is the positive side of X to -X. So we are symmetrizing it this side, right? So we have what is here being symmetrized to this side. So if I hit on / once again, you can see that the hole fits in perfectly with our bulb, right? So jump out of edit mode, and then this is what we have. So we have a nice looking bulb. I have the bulb here, this part, and then this part. So finally, let me add in an extra little detail. So if you can see, there's a break just in the middle here. So let's add that in real quick, and then we call it a day. So I'll jump into edit mode with this portion selected, Control R, and then add in a loop cut. Then we do Control +P to create a bevel right here, and then we can do I to insert it in one level like this, and then we can do Alt E, extrude along normals to add in our extrusion like this to create this nice break that you are seeing. So thank you guys for watching. On the next one, we are going to add in some materials and see if we can create a nice composition out of this bulb. Thank you very much for watching, and leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you haven't, please subscribe. More modeling tutorials are on the way coming. See you on the next one. It's my friend, and peace out. So let's just look at our model one last time. So I'm going to check the wireframe, display wireframe mode. so that we can just look at how nice our model is. Right, see you on the next one. Peace out.